Howdy, 8th grade. Today we are going to talk about unit conversion using unit analysis, which is how we did it last year. So I'm hoping we're pretty comfortable with this, but if we're not, we'll make it work. So I want to start off with a problem like I normally do. And this problem is that a cheetah can run, let me make sure I get my number right here. A cheetah can run 105,600 yards in an hour, which is pretty fast because that's a cheetah. But that number doesn't really tell me much. Like I can't really visualize how long 105,000 yards is. So I want to know, what is this in miles per hour? Because I have kind of a gist for how fast miles per hour is. So that's going to make my life a lot easier if I can get it. So I'm going to start off with the speed I start with. And we're going to start off with 105,600 yards in 1 hour. And I'm hoping you remember this from last year, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a big old T-chart. And I know that I want to get rid of yards. I don't want that anymore, but I want to keep hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put yards on the bottom. And what that does is it'll get rid of yards for me because it's on the top and bottom. And when I'm dividing, that goes away. So I don't want yards anymore. I need to replace it with something. And I want this to be in miles per hour. So I'm going to put miles on top to replace yards with miles. So now the question is, what numbers do I have for miles and yards here? And that number is going to be that 1 mile is equal to 1,760 yards. After that, I just need to simplify, so the yards are going to go away. I'm going to multiply across the top and bottom. So 105,600 yards times 1 mile is going to be 105,600. We don't have yards anymore. Times 1 is the same thing, and that's going to be miles. On the bottom, I'm going to have 1 hour times 1,760. 1 times 1,760 is 1,760, and I've got hours. So if you look at our units now, we have units that we want because it's miles per hour here. That makes me happy. So all I have to do is simplify this fraction. So as it turns out, 105,600 divides evenly into 1,760. I know that's kind of hard to do in your head, but I promise if you did this, you would end up getting that this is 60 over 1 miles per hour. And 60 over 1, of course, is 60 miles per hour. So let's walk through what we just did, just so we have kind of steps. As we started off by, step 1 was to write our original number and units. Step number 2 for us was that we wanted to get rid of yards here, so we put yards on the opposite side of the fraction. So we're going to get rid of a unit by putting it on the other side of the fraction. And then we're going to keep going. Our third step was to replace the unit. And we replaced yards with miles right up here. So that was when we wrote miles right there. The fourth step was to put in our conversion factor. And what our conversion factor was the numbers we put in to make yards and miles equal each other. That's called a conversion factor. I'm going to write the number to make the units equal, just in case you forget. And then our last step is going to be to simplify our fraction. So we are going to try one more with this, which is going to be a bit of a harder problem. I'm going to say that I have a hose, a water hose. Let's make it a fire hose, that'll be more fun. And it's going to put out 41,472. That's not how you write it too. There we go. Cubic inches. With water per hour. I also want to say that I have a pool that has 1,104 cubic feet. I don't know, how long will it take to fill the pool? And this is going to be a very hard problem. That's okay. So, looking at this, the first thing I notice is that one of my measurements is in cubic inches and another's in cubic feet, and that's not going to work for me. So I need to change one of them into the other. I think cubic feet is going to be easier just because our cubic inches number is so darn big. So I'm starting off with 41,472 cubic inches, which would be inches cubed per hour. Now what I want to do is to get rid of that inches cubed. So I'm going to put inches on bottom and feet on top because that's what I want. But after I cancel out my inches, inches cubed divided by inches is just going to be inches squared. So I'm going to need to do that again with an inches on bottom and a feet on top. But inches squared here divided by inches is going to be inches still. So I need to do it one more time. I know that's a lot. Get a little more room. And that will get rid of inches entirely. So I need to fill in my numbers here. So all I did there was I put my unit on the other side of the fraction to get rid of it, and I replaced it with feet. But now what I need to do is step 4, which is to write my conversion factor. So my conversion factor is going to be that 12 inches equals 1 foot, 12 inches is 1 foot, and 12 inches is 1 foot. So I got to do that 3 whole times, which is a lot. Thankfully, this number right here divides very well into 12. I'm going to skip the arithmetic again to try to keep the video a little shorter. But when I do that, I'm going to get 24 feet cubed, that's feet times feet times feet, per hour. So if I have a pool that is 1,104 cubic feet, and I need to figure out how many hours it's going to take, what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to divide by how many feet per hour I can get, divided by 24 feet cubed per hour, and that's going to tell me how many hours it'll take. So if I can do 24 feet per hour, I've got 1,104 cubic feet, and I just need to divide it. I'm going to end up finding that it'll take 46 hours to fill this giant swimming pool. I think that will be just about all the examples you need to finish up your 4 lesson practice problems. Make sure we do those, and I will see you all in class tomorrow. Have a great day.